Hello, my name is Gil. I started to collect passports in 2005. Today I would like to introduce to you the types of passports which are issued in Singapore after World War II, which is after 1945. Earlier versions of certificate of identity were not in a booklet format, but they came on a sheet of paper like this. So we have here two versions. This is from 1960, and you can see still the British coat of arms. The 61 had already the Modular Singapura crest because Singapore had self-rule. During World War II, we had emergency certificates like this one from 1942, which is good to go to India. India, of course, was not considered totally foreign. It was still in the British Commonwealth. Another example of a leaflet passport is this affidavit to be used in lieu of a passport, where the applicant would declare who he was or she was and what his or her intentions were. So after the defeat of the Japanese, the British came back in August 1945, and Singapore was administrated under the British Military Authority, BMA. So the passports from that time had an interesting stamp which says BMA Malaya. Here you have an example of passport issued to a broker. It was issued in May 1947 and issued by Franklin Gibson, the Knight Commander and Colonial Secretary. This passport has the Tudor crown on the cover, which is a domed crown, which was in use until 1952. In 1952, Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the throne, and there was a change in the crest. And we have here on the British passport issued for Singapore the St. Edward's crown, which is not domed but arched. The next type is also Minister for Home Affairs, and instead of Colony of Singapore, it says State of Singapore. In 1963, Singapore became part of Malaysia. Singaporeans would use Malaysian passports, like these two examples. Immediately after independence, we have provisional passports. They were either red or purple, like in these two examples. The government then issued the first type of irregular passport, which had this kind of design. We have on top the number, and at the bottom the name of the holder. It was continued to be issued by the Deputy Prime Minister, but later on the authority went over to the Minister of Interior and Defence. At the end there was a foreign exchange sheet which was filled out by the banks who sold a traveller foreign currencies. The next design step was the same passport, however without the number field. If you want to compare here, the authority was either the Ministry of Interior and Defence, but later it was changed to the Minister for Home Affairs. Let's have a look here at this lady's passport. She was a teacher and valid for all countries except China, North Korea and North Vietnam. So at that time, you're talking here about the 70s, Singaporeans could not travel to China without a particular permit, which you would have to get from the government. It was the time of the Vietnam War and lots of political tension in the region. Then this hardcover design was changed to one which is plastic or soft cover. You had room for up to 6 children and photographs, and still you were not allowed to travel to the communist countries, including Laos, Vietnam, Korea, Cambodia and China at the time. So in the 1980s, the format of the passport changed and became small to the present size, which we know. And if you see the passport photo is on the first page, and everything is written by hand. Even immigration department is written by hand. The immigration department here is printed. We then had the machine readable passports in this field on the bottom of the page. Later on, the passport data page was moved to the back of the passport, like here. And this was replaced by the biometric passport. We have this sign for biometric passports on the cover. And this is the current type we are using in Singapore. So after independence, the government issued a passport specifically for travel between Singapore and West Malaysia. You could only travel to West Malaysia, you could not travel to Sabah or Sarawak with this passport. And there were different designs of this passport. This is a very kind of simple cardboard design. It was later replaced with this plastic with gold letters. Then the title page turned silver, from gold to silver. And this is the last example of the large size restricted passports. What the difference here is that the crest, Immigration Department Singapore, is printed, whereas here it was just hand stamp. So this restricted passport became also smaller along with the national passport. And here we have the blue lamination of the holder. In this early versions, Immigration Department is written by hand. It was then changed to an imprint, and the last version of this was machine readable, as you can see here. Before I forget, the Malaysians also had a restricted passport for their citizens. It looked like this, same size as the Singapore one. They also had space for 6 children. There are also other types of identity documents which I would like to show you today, and these are certificates of identity. They were issued to people who were not citizens but stateless people living in Singapore. And this is one early example, cardboard, only valid to visit West Malaysia, and it had a re-entry permit. It was later replaced by a plastic version, and which also had a re-entry permit. This is from 1974. And another form for travel to other countries is this green certificate of identity. It was not recognized, or is still not recognized, by many countries, so your destinations are quite limited. To finish this presentation of Singapore passports, I have something very special here. This is a passport for Hajj, for somebody going to Mecca on a pilgrimage. This is from 1972. The holder, they went by boat to Saudi Arabia, and it had everything included in this document: the vaccination certificate, which you needed, the Saudi visa, and also here medical record booklet for the holder. Here again the vaccination certificate separately, and it was only good to go from Singapore to the Hajj, to Mecca, and return. Nothing else. So it was a single trip document. Thank you very much for watching.